Hello everyone, welcome once again to Talking Point. I'm Mayor Mike, and today we have a couple of guests from Midstate Independent Living Choices. Don Wigington is the director, and Madison Mativich is also joining us today to talk about some of the things that MILK, as it's affectionately known as, does. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
So Don, why don't we start? You haven't been here terribly long, but the business has been here for quite a while. Talk about what you do, where you are, and a little bit about MILK.
Yeah, sure. One of the, I think, first things I want to clear up is that the misnomer that we're a independent living facility. So our job really is to keep people out of facilities and living independently in their own home. So we have a variety of programs that will do that. We work with customers and consumers from 11 different counties here in the state. And really our primary objective is to help them work through different issues and not make decisions for them, but help them come to the choices that work best for them to live independently in their own home.
Excellent. And Madison, tell us a little bit about what you do at MILK.
Yep, so I'm an independent living consultant, which I mean working directly with our consumers on a variety of different services that we offer. With each consumer we work with, we develop an independent living plan and we set some goals to increase their independence and keep them living in their home as long as possible.
Excellent. You know, and I've had the advantage of working on a variety of projects with MILK. So I'm pretty familiar with where you are and the services you offer to help people live more independently. That's really what it's all about. So what are some of the services that your facility offers?
Yep, so we offer 5 core independent living services. The first one being independent living skills training. So training individuals with disabilities on different life skills. So that could be training them how to cook in the kitchen and adapting it to their needs. The second one that we offer is advocacy. So that could be advocating for students with disabilities for their IEP programs. That could be advocating with housing services for individuals who are on the edge of eviction. A variety of different platforms for that.
Okay.
The third one being peer support. So MILK has 51% of people that are at MILK are people with disabilities as well as board of directors. And what's great about that is we have the opportunity to offer the consumers that we serve peer support directly from staff with disabilities.
Okay.
We also have 3 mental health recovery centers, one here in Stevens Point called Rock Point. And it is a mental health drop-in center where individuals can drop in, meet with a certified peer specialist and receive support for that way. The fourth one being transition services.
Okay.
So we can help people with disabilities transition from a nursing home, hospital, mental health facility back into the community of their own home. We can help students with disability transition from high school and beyond, developing some of the life skills, and then transition from people with disabilities who are incarcerated back into society.
Excellent.
And the last one being information referral. So we're kind of a one-stop shop for people to reach out to us and say, hey, I need this resource, I want to connect with a support group. We can do that for them. Or where do I purchase an assistive technology item, anything like that.
So let's start this off real early. If someone does want to contact you, how can they do that?
So they can call our number, 715-344-4210, and they can request to speak to our intake specialist, Jennifer, and she will collect information regarding your disability, what services that you're looking for, and then that will get assigned to one of us independent living consultants.
Okay, great. Don, is there any qualifications or, let's say, threshold of disability? Because it's not just physical disabilities that you deal with and assist. Give us a little bit more information about, if someone is unsure of whether or not they will qualify for assistance through MILK.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, the first to do would be just go to our website, www.milk-inc.org.
And we should note that MILK is MILC.
Correct.
-inc.org.
And so there you'll actually see a lot of the different services. So the services that Madison described are in our independent living program, but we have a lot of other programs. And so to answer your question, no, there is no real definition of age or disability type. We serve all. And we have different programs to fit the needs of those individuals. And so some of our other programs we have, one would be part of the long-term care program. So any individual that has a disability, a physical disability, intellectual disability, when they transition out of high school, they go into an adult care program, or they into different programs that benefit the individual and help them make their own decisions and choices. And so we have an IRIS program, I Respect, I Include, and that really is about getting people to help make the decisions on their own with advocates to decide what they want to do with their lives. And so we have that program. We have respite programs for for our younger individuals. We have a representative payee program. So an example would be an individual that maybe has trouble managing their own bills, their own finances. So they could come to Milk and learn about financial literacy, or they can also then have us serve as a representative for them to help manage their checkbook, pay their bills. We also have services for in-home care. So let's say somebody just needs a little bit of help cleaning around the house. We can work with them to either use a family member or hire a worker to come in and help them do that. As well as if they need more personal care assistance with maybe taking a shower, things like that. Again, there's just a whole plethora of different opportunities for people.
That's awesome. You know, and one of the things that I really appreciate about Milk is the amount of respect that you show people, and the fact that your job isn't to do it for someone, or even assist them to do it. It's the goal is to show them how they can do it themselves.
Right.
And one of my favorite books was Dr. Temple Grandin. She has a book that's called Different, Not Less. And that's really what your mission kind of comes down to, is helping people live independently regardless of what disabilities they may be encountering.
Right.
So Madison, when someone, let's say, moves to the area or acquires some sort of disability, whether it's through an accident or they're coming off of another program, what's the process? How do things start?
So they just contact our office, and if they're not aware of all our services, we would just do a little education over the home.
Okay.
We also can meet with them in person and do like a little bit of a consult and be like, hey, like just tell me where your needs are, and let's see if our services can fit them. If we don't have services that fit those needs, we could always do that information referral part and refer them to an agency that would meet their needs, so they're not experiencing any gaps in the resources that they're seeking out.
Right. So, and Don, do you do in-home assessments? For example, I have an elderly parent who is living independently, but needs some things in the shower, you know, and you are able to come in and say, boy, we should put a grab bar in the shower, maybe one coming up the stairs.
Exactly.
Tell me about that.
Actually, I'm going to throw that back to
Okay,
Madison, because
sure.
she does those. But before I do that, I will say that we definitely do that, but we also do assessments for the city, right? So we can come in,
You did.
work for the city here, or individual contractors, or somebody that's building a home. So we do all
Or
those
even
types
businesses,
of businesses.
right?
That's exactly
businesses
right.
in the area. If a business A wants to do an assessment to see whether or not they are as accessible as they want to be, right? There's the ADA compliance, but it's even more than that, what you do. And they could contact your office too?
Exactly, yeah. And then we would go in there and take a look, like say they were building and they wanted to build a bathroom that was ADA accessible, then we could go in there and make an assessment for that. But I'll let Madison talk to the specifics, and she's the expert in that.
Perfect.
Yep, so we do accessibility assessments, which is more one-on-one with the consumer in their home. Sometimes that could be referred through a long-term care program, or it could just be something they request that is at no cost.
Okay.
Basically what I do is I meet with them one-on-one, and we kind of do a tour of their home, and I say, walk me through the areas of the home that you're having difficulty with. And as we go along, I make suggestions that are considered home modifications. That could be installing a grab bar, you know, getting a barrier-free shower. Or it could be along the line of recommending different assistive technology, like a transfer bench, so you can get over that tub ledge into the shower. So that's something that we do.
Nice. One of the other things that I know you do is you provide community awareness, right? There's a lot of community awareness projects that you do. I've worked with you on the curb cut clearing in the winter. That's a big one. And you don't fully understand how that can affect someone until you see it firsthand. And we had Carolyn this year help us out with a video to show how difficult it can be if you don't properly clear your sidewalks or clear the aprons. One of the things that I know you had done in the past was kind of an adaptive experience, right? So general public could come in and get in a wheelchair and see how difficult it is to open an outward swinging door
That's right.
in a wheelchair or things like that. What other sorts of programs do you do to raise public awareness of the challenges people with disabilities face?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we want to do coming up is an open house for our facility, and there then we can do different demonstrations and just show people the barriers that a lot of people don't understand that people with disabilities have. And again, I think a lot of times people think of physical disabilities. There's a lot of what we would call not visible disabilities, and that could be people with intellectual disabilities or people with hearing loss or slight vision loss that they don't really see. And so we want to try to educate the community to be able to be aware of that, and again, not in a way to make people feel sorry for people, but really to help educate them and help understanding that this is a world that we all share together, and so to kind of spread that message.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things I appreciate most about the things you do is really that education and awareness, because most of us take these things for granted and we don't have the same perspective that others do. You provide an environment where we can get that perspective, and that's really important.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we want to do more of, and that's why we appreciate you having us on the show, is that we want to spread the awareness of what we are as an organization and what we do. And we love the fact that we're here in Point and we have these services in Point. But again, we have 11 different counties that we serve, and we're trying to find ways to broaden, to be able to get on shows like this in Wausau or other parts of the state, because we have so much to offer the community. And that's part of, I think, what my job is going to be going forward too, is just really reaching out. Today I had the chance to meet with some representatives from Midstate Technical College, met with somebody from Metro Market, just about doing things like creating cooking shows, cooking opportunities, not necessarily a show, but an opportunity for people to learn how to do things that they haven't done before. And so the more we do those things, the more we can spread awareness and then hopefully get into the communities and really help people.
That's great. Well, we just had the adaptive skating event, and you've been having that for a couple of years now at our KB Willett Arena, which is really great. Of course, we'll have to wait till next year till that happens. What are some of the other events that you do during the summer, or maybe that you have planned throughout the rest of the year? Whoever wants to field that.
Yep, we have an adaptive kayaking event that was kind of on hiatus because of COVID, but now we are restarting it this summer in July. So keep on a lookout from our website for information about that. So we have that, and then we have our December to Remember event, Sensitive Santa, where kids with disabilities can come and meet Santa, and that's been going on for several years now.
That's pretty awesome. So where is the adaptive kayak event? I know we've got an accessible launch down at Piffner Pioneer Park, and you utilize that, but is that where the event is held?
It's actually at Lake Nepco
Okay.
in Wisconsin Rapids, and they do have a similar setup.
Okay, have you considered doing one in Point?
That was, yep.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're looking at for the next year. Again, I think one of the things that we're trying to do is work with individuals in the communities, and so we had been working with somebody here that recently, I think, changed shop, and so Eric has reached out to another group, and so that's, I think, was the deciding factor of where we were going to do it this coming year.
Great, great. So you mentioned that you have an office here in Point. It's kind of inconspicuous. Why don't you tell people where you're located?
Yeah, we're off of Church Street, 3262 Church Street, right sandwiched in between Dollar General and Save-A-Lot. So, but it's, we're open 8:30 to 5 every weekday, so people can kind of come in and check the place out. We have equipment for loan, so maybe I'll let Madison talk a little bit about our loan program.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about that too, because that's one that I personally have utilized. So tell us about the loan program and what types of equipment you have available for loan.
Yeah, so it's called of our Adaptive Equipment Loan and Demonstration Program. We have 600 plus items in our program. And assistive technology is anything from a wheelchair to a walker to a commode, anything of that sort. And we even have some for transitional related care, so students with disabilities in the school system. Individuals can loan an item for 45 days. It's free. There's no cost or fees or anything associated with this.
But you do take donations.
But we do take
Absolutely.
donations, and we always donate to the community what were donated into us. The intention of our program is either for short-term accommodation or try before you buy. So assistive technology can be really expensive. And using our program, individuals are able to narrow down what exact item works for them, so they're not spending all this money on multiple different items.
So give me an example. I mean, everybody's familiar with walkers and wheelchairs and commodes. Our all-terrain wheelchair
Yep.
loaner
Yep.
program, that's a great one. But what are some of the other things that people may not even realize exist? For example, some of the telephone or hearing or eating
Yep.
things that you loan out. Tell us about those.
Yeah, so we have several different amplified phones. So that's for someone who could be hard of hearing or has any issues with hearing. And they go up to 60 decibels, which is the highest amount, which a normal standard phone doesn't usually go up to.
Okay.
And so they are able to try, loan out that item and determine if it will help them. And you usually can't purchase these like directly in the store.
Right.
We have adaptive utensils, which are my favorite. We have a weighted option for individuals who may experience tremors. They're able to help decrease some of that shakiness while they're eating. We even have a special spoon that counteracts movements. And when you bring it up to your mouth, it makes it less likely to spill the food on you.
Wow. And you said 600 different items. I know one of the things that Eric had worked on was that adaptive gaming system. Does that still exist?
Yeah, it does. I found it in the closet. So
Okay.
It's definitely there. And again, I think a lot of the different events that we are offering kind of coming through that hiatus with COVID, and so now their gaming is going to be taking place again.
Okay.
I don't want to leak any secrets, but there's a new business in town that does gaming, and so we've been kind of working with them,
Right.
trying to identify the right avenue for this. So be checking our website. That'll be
Well,
coming
that's
out.
awesome. And the reason I brought that up is because it's not just those everyday live to get by sort of devices that you have available, but there's the recreational, the leisure activities that some people may have more difficulty with that you were able to assist with.
Yep.
So excellent. Give me an idea of how many people in our community you serve, whether it's weekly, monthly, annually, whatever numbers you have. I know that's putting you on the spot a little bit, but I just want to give people the idea that this isn't a specialty niche kind of thing.
Right.
There are many, many people in our community that need some adaptive equipment just to live.
Right. I mean, I guess in terms of, the people coming in to borrow are one subset, but then you look at the people that are part of our rep payee program, where we're helping them financially. We're talking hundreds of individuals. Same thing with our Irish program. There's hundreds of individuals that we serve in our program. So I think on any given day, you could say we're in the thousands, which I think for a small community like Stevens Point is pretty big.
It is.
It's a large subset. And I think that's the other thing is people just don't realize how much need there is in the community. And then it's even scary when you think about the people we aren't serving that we could be serving.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have any stories that maybe stand out of either someone you've helped or maybe something that was a little heart-tugging when, at Milk?
Yeah, so I think, my focus is home assessment, so that's my bread and butter. That's where my heart is. And I think what's really eye-opening for me and is an amazing experience is being able that someone allows me into their home, that they share their struggles with me, and I'm able to share as much knowledge as I can. And a lot of times they end up leaving, say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that existed. Like, thank you so much for coming in. I feel so much more hopeful now because a lot of people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And when you become newly disabled, there's not really a 101 on disability on here's what you should do, here's all the resources.
No TikToks on that one?
No.
No, and I said I've got a tremendous amount of respect for everything that Milk does in our community because, again, you don't know what you don't know. And hopefully the people who are watching and listening to this video may not understand or realize that there are people out there who can help you. Maybe it's just a small task that you're having difficulty with, dexterity in the fingers or something, you're able to help. And I would urge anybody who's watching, if you think that there might be a solution, stop in. It certainly doesn't hurt, and that's what you do. So it's not like anybody's wasting anybody's time.
Exactly.
How many people do you have working at Milk?
We have 37 now.
37 people at that office on the south side.
Yeah, and that's in the office. We do have our Irish consultants. They work remote. But then we also have personal care workers that are, for the most part, hired family help that help in the homes of some individuals. And so that number can range in a couple hundred as well. So when you actually look at it that way, we're closer to 250, but in our office is usually around 30-ish.
Okay, wow. That's pretty amazing. And how long have you been in Stevens Point?
Oof, we were incorporated in 2000, so it's been, what, 22 years?
Almost 23 years now?
23 years, yeah.
That's
So
nice.
quite a while. And I think that's, the other thing too is about being in the community here. We talk about the people that we serve and the benefit that we can do. I would say anybody watching also is we really are in an area now where we want to partner with other local groups, and whether they be a disability organization or something like the ADRC, the Lincoln Center.
Okay.
There's so many services that overlap, and we don't want to compete with other organizations. We want to, synchronize with them and synergize with them. And so we're looking to do more community events, like we were talking about, trying to set up like a local dance or something like that, where again, we're not getting paid to do that. We feel that that's an important thing to do for the community. So try to do more things like that as well.
Well, that's great, and we have no shortage of events here in the city.
Yeah.
So especially during the summer months, I know there's probably a ton of events that would love to have a demonstration booth there. One thing that popped into my head is, do you take donated equipment? Let's say I have a elderly mother or father who passes away, and they've got a walker, a commode, or some other type of adaptive devices. If I needed to donate them, how could I do that, and what sorts of items do you accept?
Yep, so you would directly contact our office again and say that you have equipment to donate, and then just tell us what kind you have. We don't usually do hospital beds or larger items, but we do anything from wheelchairs, commodes, walkers, all of that sort. So.
Another thing just popped into my head too. Do you do anything with hearing aids or audio?
Yeah, you want to?
We mostly stick with telecommunication for hearing-related needs. So that would be like amplified phones, caption phones, cell phone amplifiers, personal listening devices that you could wear that transmit the audio to your ears. More focused on that stuff.
Excellent, excellent. So, do you know when that adaptive kayaking event is yet?
I believe it is July 29th.
And that's at Lake Nepco?
Correct.
Right, in Wisconsin Rapids. All right, I'm going to ask people to keep an eye on your website and Facebook page, because I really want to get that Stevens Point one set. I got a few ideas of some people you can work with. Is there anything that we haven't talked about yet that you feel is significant or you want people to know about Midstate Independent Living Choices?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that, we are embedded in this community. We want to grow in the community. We want to make sure that people are aware of who we are, what we do, the services that we offer, but also just to know that, we're there for the community. And, one of the things when you talk about like the loan program, we are accepting loans. We don't rely a lot on, say, monetary donations, but, I will point out that the majority of our revenue does come from either Medicaid payments or from grants, which really don't cover the core services that we're offering. We recently went to the Madison Capitol a couple weeks ago to advocate for increased funding. So we get state money and federal funds as well. And even though we are a federally mandated organization and we're told what these core services are, they keep increasing the core services, but they don't increase the funding. So one of the things that does help is, food donations for our events, things like that. So I think that's just something for the community to know, that there's a way to also give back and help, and that relays where it's going right back into the community as well.
Absolutely great. Anything to add?
I want to talk a little bit more about our mental health drop-in centers.
That's a good idea.
So we have the one on Jefferson Street here in Stevens Point. It is open 5 days a week, and we have multiple support groups We have a women's group, a men's group, an LGBTQ plus group that we're starting. And it's really these centers, the one in Stevens Point is actually used to be a group home.
Okay.
And so we have access to a kitchen where individuals with disabilities can help build some of those independent living skills, and just have that socialization aspect where they're in a community with people who are going through the same thing as them or something similar, and they're surrounded by that. And they're able to do activities in the community, like go out to outings together. We have two other drop-in centers as well, one in Marshfield called ABW, A Better Way, and then one in Wisconsin Rapids, RCC,
Okay.
River City.
And these are drop-in sites, so
Correct.
they're not homes. You don't have people living there.
Correct.
Correct.
Where would someone find out information about where to go specifically?
Yep, we have a section on our website called Mental Health. It has all the center hours listed on there. And then there's also contacts where they could get connected with our mental health coordinator and the certified peer specialists who are staffing these centers.
Okay, so on Jefferson Street, and again, it's a drop-in center.
Yep.
So if anybody just feels the need to, have someone to talk to,
Yep. Yep.
they can
Or just
pop
hang
by.
out. I
Or
mean,
just-
that's the other thing
exactly.
too, is that they want to hang out. They can choose to help out. They usually, the hours cover the lunch hour, so sometimes they'll get together, they'll plan
Okay.
meals. And like Madison said, they'll plan activities. And so it's really just a place for somebody to feel safe and comfortable and like I said, just hang out.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how much the need is in our community right now for just people to talk to vent. Life can be stressful.
And I think sometimes there's a stigma with that too, and that they're afraid. And I think one of the things is that we really try to pride ourselves on is that, again, there's no pressure. It's like this. We want this to be for the individual. If they want to come in and talk, we can do that. If they just want to just sit around, play game, they can do that as well. It's unique for each individual, and so that's what we try to, again, filter their choice into what they want to make of it.
Okay, great. So we're getting close to the end of the show. So how about if we talk one more time about how we can get in touch with Midstate Independent Living Choices? Phone numbers, emails, location, that sort of thing.
You go with the phone, and I'll go with the email.
Yep, that sounds good. So our direct phone number is 715-344-4210.
Okay.
And there's a receptionist, Patty, who's been there, oh boy, many, many years.
Yes.
Patty and I used to work together 30 years ago, too.
Yeah, a wonderful lady who's become quite the painter. So if you
Yeah.
ever stop into our address,
Oh, nice.
stop in 3262 Church Street. But then really our website at www.milc-inc.org. So
right.
milk-inc.org. And we're really trying to build that out as kind of the platform for everything. You can access any of our social media sites through that as well. And so you can even go to the staff listings, see all the different staff. So really building that out to be kind of a one-stop shop for people.
Excellent. Well, Don, Madison, thank you very much for joining us again and telling us everything that Midstate Independent Living Choices do. The fact that you can go there to rent or try out or loan equipment, adaptive equipment, the public services that you do, or raising awareness with the events and the kayaking, the skating event, and I hope we're going to bring back that open house pretty soon this summer
got
too. So thank you very much for what you do and what your staff does, and thanks for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, I'm Mayor Mike, and we have been Talking Point.
For more information about Midstate Independent Living Choices, visit milc-inc.org or call 715-344-4210. Talking Point is produced by Mayor Mike Wiza and Stevens Point Community Media.